Welcome to the Easy Odds YouTube channel as we continue our coverage of Euro 2016. What a tournament so far. So many of the minnows have got through to the knockout stages, and that's what we're going to be concentrating on with the number one tipster, well, quite frankly, anywhere in the world. Forget the internet, the universe, the solar system. It is, of course, Ross Casey with a huge level stake profit so far in the tournament. He is hitting the bookmakers hard and will continue to do so in the knockout stages. Before we look at the first three games in the last 16 on Saturday, let's see where we are with Rossi's anti-post selections. And Rossi, you're in my good books because you did tip up Belgium at 14 to 1 at the beginning of the tournament, and they've got to the knockout stages despite not playing all that well.
Yeah, they play a very strange game of kind of tic-tac-toe where they don't press forward too much, and when they are forced to defend, they're actually at their best, because when teams come at them, that leaves space in behind. And I mentioned that in my tip yesterday for why they would beat Sweden, and it proved the case, because Sweden had to push forward because they had to win the game, especially in the last few minutes, and that's when they got the goal. And if they keep on playing teams that go at them, then they're going to go far, I think. Plus, they've got the extra advantage of the fact that Spain lost their game, so Spain are now in the opposite side of the draw, which is excellent. Probably going to play Wales in their next game if they get through the last 16 game, and I think that they'll be mightily into that match, as they were embarrassed a little bit in the group stages by them. Wales picked up 4 points out of 6 against them, so they'll be looking for revenge in that one. And I really do think 14 to 1 was a big price.
You could lay off now.
And you can lay off now if you used a trading betting site. Certainly, I know that you did for your Croatia bet. So
yeah, I've done Croatia and Belgium. You're saying about they play so well on the break. They've got speed to burn. Hazard,
Absolutely.
Mertens, who's a massively underrated player, and obviously Lukaku.
And comes off the bench, but Mertens with like 20 minutes left.
Good little player,
so
quick.
When defenders are tiring, the last person that you want to see come off the bench is Mertens.
Yeah, running at you for sure. Let's go through the other two major anti-post bets before we look at the last 16. Cristiano Ronaldo, top scorer. You advocated at 5 to 1 before, of course, Wednesday. People are going, what does that Ross Casey know about this? But of course, you can never put a good man down, especially as he's quite heavy. 5 to 1 Ronaldo, 2 goals in 1 game, and all of a sudden, wham, he's right at the top of the charts with Gareth Bale.
He's right. He's right in it. He's one behind Bale, of course, currently, and I'm really disappointed that he's not top of the charts. I really thought that with the group that he was in, with Austria, Iceland and Hungary, I thought that he could be out and away the top scorer and almost win it in those 3 games, and he should have done with the amount of chances that he had. We all know that Cristiano is a greedy footballer and he will shoot on sight, and he's certainly done that in this tournament. He's had almost 30 shots this tournament, which is unbelievable. And to only score 2 goals is a real disappointment, especially as there's a missed penalty in there as well. So I'm really desperately disappointed with that. They've got a difficult game coming up against Croatia, but there's still every chance that my tip can come in there, and I'm pleased that he's got 2 on the charts already.
Hazard to be player of the tournament was 20 to 1 initially, and you advocated him, and he's slowly building into the tournament, almost like game by game, and it's almost because Belgium in the weaker half of the draw, you suspect is going to have a big effect on probably the next 2 or 3 games. Yeah,
making him captain was a big call by Mark Wilmots. Mark Wilmots in qualifying actually called him out a little bit and said that he wasn't doing enough for the team. So to put the captain's armband on him was a big bold move, and I think it's actually paid off. This tournament, I know that he's failed to actually score a goal yet, and that will probably cost him in this market. But if he starts scoring some goals, he's put in some expert performances. Against Ireland, he was excellent. That breakaway for Lukaku's second goal was absolutely excellent. And his performance against Italy, I thought, was absolutely imperious. Yes, they lost the game 2-0, but every single time he beat his man, they were dragging him down, they were kicking him left, right and centre. Had Belgium won that game, that would be one of the performances of the tournament, in my personal opinion.
And your nap, I think, has already gone in, which was Gareth Bale to be top Welsh goal scorer. And you better be sitting down now, because if you've missed this price, you've only got yourselves to blame. 6 to 5 before the tournament began.
Yeah, me and Jake in our Euro videos were laughing at this price. I couldn't believe that he was odds against in this market. I just couldn't believe it. He's clearly their best player. He's clearly their fulcrum of their team. He takes set pieces. He takes penalties. I just couldn't believe that he was 6-5. Aaron Ramsey was second in the market at 8-1. How can there be such a discrepancy?
Aaron Ramsey, ooh,
8-1 as the second choice, and the favourite is odds against. I just couldn't understand it, and I'm pleased that I made it my nap because he's got 3, and he's 2 ahead of the current players who have also got 1 in Williams, Kanu, and Ramsey.
That bet for me has already landed, and almost if you played all those 4 anti-post bets that Rossi advised, you've almost played for the other 3 by backing Gareth Bale to be top Welsh goalscorer. And that's how you have to think of betting, yeah, in a mathematical sense when you're betting on one tournament, whether it be Wimbledon, Open Golf or Euro 2016. Let's move on to Saturday's games. We're at the knockout stage now, so there's no coming back. A lot of them will be tactical. A lot of the minnows, the weaker teams, will maybe play for 90 minutes, maybe play for extra time, maybe even play for penalties. Let's start with the 2 o'clock kickoff. Switzerland versus Poland. Interesting matchup here. Lewandowski is yet to really fire for Poland. But who are the favourites in this match, Rossi?
The bookies have actually made Poland favourites, Paul, to win in St Etienne on Saturday. Their best price 17-10 up against Switzerland. Poland have been excellent in their group games. They actually kept Northern Ireland and Germany in those 2 games combined to just 5 shots against them. That is absolutely brilliant, especially up against that Germany team, which is obviously very, very good in an attacking sense. So they've actually gone through it in their group stage, picking up 7 points out of 9 and kept 3 clean sheets in a row. So there's not really much to aim at Poland in terms of if Lewandowski was scoring the goals also to add to the goals from Milik and Blaszczykowski so far, then that's almost perfect, isn't it?
I mean, they should have beaten Germany, shouldn't they?
They had the chances to, didn't they? Absolutely. So I can perfectly understand why they're favourites, but if you fancy Switzerland, who of course went through finishing second in Group A with 5 points, their best price 9-4. In my view, they were unimpressive in that opening game against Albania, where they only beat Albania 1-0, even though Albania were down to 10 men.
Didn't really have a cutting edge
in the first half, so they should have put them to bed. And Albania had that chance in the last few minutes, which they should have equalised. Terrible miss from Gashi. That was a gash of a finish, Paul. And then they came from behind to draw against Romania 1-1, and then they put in probably their best performance of the tournament in that match against France. Granted, it was a much changed France team, but they were arguably the better team in that final group stage. So they're coming into this tournament getting slightly better and better each time, whereas Poland have just been consistent, I'd say. So my recommended bet here, Paul, I actually found some real tough time trying to find some value. My go-to bet here was under 2.5 goals because basically all 6 of the matches featuring these teams have gone under 2.5 goals, so I was like, well, that's going to be the go-to bet here. But the bookies have covered that really nicely with a 2-5 best price, so I can't tip that. That's not a tip. That's
very short, isn't it?
It's incredibly short. So then I looked into Poland to qualify because I actually fancied them over 120 minutes or penalties in this match rather than the 90 minutes because with just the 2 goals to their name, I'm not entirely sure that they'll be able to get past the Swiss defence, which of course has only let in 1 goal themselves in 3 games. But then that price was 4-6. That's even short. That's almost as short. So then I looked into the 0-0 half-time correct score, and that was a best price of 6-5. So finally, I've found myself an odds against price there. It sounds short because, of course, we're counting on no goals being scored in 45 minutes, which most of the time happens. But this tournament has been so sided with second half goals, specifically last 15 minutes.
Yeah,
and every single Poland game this tournament has been 0-0 at half-time. So I think 6-5 is a decent price there overall, far better than the shorter priced ones, which are more likely, possibly, but I always go for value for money with my tips, and 6-5 I think is the better option.
And of course here on Easy Odds you'll be able to strike straight away where the best price is for that market, and there'll be, 80, 90, 100 plus markets on
90
this game?
plus, yeah.
Okay.
And the reason to bet with Easy Odds in this particular match is, yet again, in the anytime goal scorer market, there's always huge differences in prices there. Fabian Schär, who was the goal scorer for Switzerland in their game against Albania from a corner, Hoffenheim centre-half, he scored a few goals for Hoffenheim this season from set plays as well. He's a real threat, he's about 6'4". He's a worse price 6-1, but you can double your odds with easy odds and get 12-1 elsewhere. So make sure that you get the best prices for your chosen anytime goal scorer.
And you wouldn't know that unless you went on the matrices here at Easy Odds. Let's go on to the second game, 5 o'clock kickoff. It's an all-British affair. I mean, this should be fantastic. This, for me, is going to be the blood and thunder game of the final 16 as Wales take on Northern Ireland. Let's hope Will gets on the pitch.
Absolutely.
And they sing the song, because it's been one of the... And the other highlight has been the way the fans have acquitted themselves from these two countries. They really have made the tournament. For all intents and purposes, as far as you or I know off the top of our head, you would say, well, Wales are bound to be really short price favourites to win this. But these two teams have met in the past, haven't they? And it's maybe not as clear-cut as we think.
Absolutely. And the bookies have actually made Wales a best price odds against 21-20, which I was a little bit surprised at, I must admit.
That's a 90-minute price, yeah?
That's a 90-minute price, of course, yeah. They are pretty much a price of even money across the board in our odds comparison matrices, but you can pick out a few bookmakers that are offering 21-20, so make sure that you get the price now, because I'm almost certain that at kickoff that will shorten.
I think it's a fair price, isn't it?
Yeah.
I thought they'd be something around 8 to 11, 1.72.
Yep, absolutely. I'm with you on that, Paul. They managed to finish in front of local rivals England after England failed to beat Slovakia in that final group game, disappointingly. And they managed to top the group thanks to victories over a decent Slovakia team and a turgid Russia. I was really disappointed with Russia at this tournament. Granted, they had three of their main midfielders injured, and that caused all kinds of problems for them, but I just didn't enjoy watching Russian matches at all, and I'm pleased that they're out of the tournament. Northern Ireland, though, are, without doubt, in my view, the success story of the tournament. I cannot believe that Northern Ireland are in the last 16. How on earth they managed to make it when they've, out of a possible 300% of possession, they've actually only had 85% of the play in their 3 matches so far.
That is an incredible stat.
Which is just incredible. But you've got to play to your strengths, and their defence is their strength. The problem for them, though, is that they struggle to have many shots on goal, and defence is key to their victories, and that is the reason that they are big price, 41-10 to win the game in the full-time result market.
Okay, loads of markets, as we said, 80, 90, 100 markets, and of course there's in-running markets as well. I would have thought this was quite a difficult choice for your recommended bet here, because you could have chosen 3 or 4, couldn't you? I
could have chosen 3 or 4. I won't go through them like I did in the past one, because I kind of was always siding with this just because of the odds against price, and I just think overall Wales just have more quality in their team than Northern Ireland do, and 21-20, I'm going to take that price, and I'm going to take it pretty sharpish because I don't think it will be around for much longer. They were really impressive in their 3-0 win against Russia, and the handy draw for them in this tie is going to give Wales real confidence because they're going to fancy themselves in this match. It is true that Northern Ireland are expert in defence. Some excellent goalkeeping and poor finishing kept the Germany score down to just 1-0, despite some laughable stats in that game where I think Northern Ireland had 19% of the ball and a 1 shot on goal, so they did so well to keep it down to just 1-0. Bale and Ramsey are starting to click as a pair, though, and they've impressively been backed up by some championship players like Johnny Williams and Hal Robson.
I was impressed by Johnny Williams.
Yep. So I do fancy Wales to nick this. I watched this match back in March. There was a friendly played in Wales of this very match, and that was a Wales that were without Ramsey and without Bale, who are, of course, the 2 key players to Wales, and they only just managed to salvage a draw. A late penalty from Simon Church got the 1-1 draw. But I think with those players in, they're going to have just about enough quality to win this game, and that's the reason that I'm going to back them at 21-20.
And once again, the reason to use easy odds for this game, again, there's big anomalies, aren't there, in the price differential of different bookmakers.
And I'm going to go and find a real big price difference on the Welsh Iniesta, Joe Allen. He scored a few goals for Liverpool. He turned up quite a few times at Anfield and scored some pretty important goals as well for Liverpool. He's yet to get on the score sheet for Wales here, but with backs to the wall, I can see him having a pop from the edge of the area, possibly, and he's more than capable of scoring from that kind of distance. Absolutely. He's a worse price 5-1, and you can more than double your odds with the easy odds comparison service and get 11-1 there.
Well, there you go. Wales 21-20, and another reason for you to choose easy odds, whatever the bet, whatever the book you're having a bet in. for the knockout stages of the European Championships. Okay, let's go to the late game. Oh, this is spicy. Get ready to salivate because it's Croatia versus Portugal. Arguably the best team we've seen so far in the tournament against a team that time and time again in tournaments never fulfill their potential. But it's a cracker. And I was very interested in the match betting here. Who's favourites?
Favourites here, Paul, are Croatia, and it's unsurprising really after their impressive win against Spain. Ante Čačić's side at best price 17-10. They're now unbeaten in the last 10 matches, and they've of course just beaten the current European champions 2-1 Spain. And you could say that they were fair cop to win that game as well. They certainly gave as much as they got.
They played without fear, didn't they? And
certainly did.
You mentioned Belgium really quick on the break.
Yeah.
My word.
Just the same, yeah.
Croatia, fabulous, aren't
they? The only blotch on their record at the moment, Paul, is their late capitulation against Czech Republic, where they threw a 2-goal lead to draw 2-2 in that game. But there was a little bit of a caveat to that of how much of that distraction was caused by the fans protesting on the pitch with the flares, and it was about a 5-minute break in the match, and it caused a bit of a break up in the play, and I think that kind of played with the players' heads a little bit. So you can certainly make an excuse for that capitulation. Portugal, on the other side, they've been an interesting team to follow this tournament. They're yet to win a game, despite the fact that they had, on paper, the easiest group, and they've had an incredible 54 shots on goal.
Wow.
In 3 games, Portugal have had 54 shots on goal and haven't won a game.
I mean, the other thing, and I'm just speaking as an ordinary football fan, and many of you out there have seen it as well, I've been really disappointed with their defence, which looked hugely porous against Hungary, didn't it?
Yeah, it did, but I will have a stat on that, and I do think that that was a bit of a strange one. Sometimes these kind of matches happen, and you can't really account for the free kick. That was a huge deflection.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
Guerra's goal was a brilliant shot from the edge area. That wasn't the defence being unlocked. So there are a few caveats there as well. But if you fancy them to beat the Croats here, who have been probably much more impressive than Portugal so far, 9-4 best price,
wow.
which I think is a very nice price. And actually, it's going to be my recommended bet.
You're going to get in 90 minutes, Portugal's the winner.
90 minutes.
Wow.
They're going to win their first match of the tournament against the most impressive team in the tournament.
Talk about putting your neck on the block there, kidder.
They call me the Mad Dog for a reason.
They do, yeah. Get ready to howl, boys.
I know that it will come as a shock to plenty of people because they're coming off the back of a stupendous win against Spain or Croatia, but I think that all the pressure here is on Croatia. They'll now be expected to beat a Portuguese side that have failed to really set the tournament alight. They're yet to win a game in the whole tournament. They finished third in a group behind Hungary and Iceland, which is why I can't think of any tips that would have tipped that. I certainly didn't tip that to happen. However, this is a Portugal outfit that rarely lose. They've only lost 2 of the last 12. They've only conceded 10 goals in the last 15 games. That's exactly why I was saying the Hungary game was a bit of a strange result for them, because defensively they are stout. And I said pre-tournament, laughably, I actually said that Croatia wouldn't get out of the group because I actually felt that they've got such a good midfield, they just don't have an attacker to finish off these amazing moves that they can put forth. And it's kind of rung true in the fact that they've scored 5 goals so far in the tournament, and only one of them has come from a striker, and that was Karanic's first goal against Spain. And the rest of the time, it's these brilliant midfielders having to score the goals themselves. They're having to create the chances and also score the chances because the strikers that they have at their disposal, to me, just aren't very good players. Kalinic, Mandzukic, Brozovic, all players that play in Italy now, and all players that, to me, they're just not that good. So I feel that Portugal can overcome the Croatian attack just about, and I just think that 9-4, with the fact that they've had 54 shots on goal, at some point they've got to come good, and if they get back to their brilliant defensive ways pre the Hungarian match, and they manage to put away some of these chances that they're creating, I think 9-4 is a really good price.
And of course they have Ronaldo, who's now the top of his form confidence-wise, and we'll be thinking, you know what, we're in the week half of the draw, this is a real chance for me, probably in my final big tournament, to go out with a gold medal, and that's one of the reasons why you should use easy odds in this game.
Absolutely, and look at his odds in the anytime goal scoring market. Best price 6-5, which isn't a bad price at all. Normally, when Ronaldo plays in a game, he's normally odds on to net. He's already scored 2 goals this tournament, of course. Best price though, 39-20, so you can always squeeze out the most possible value using the odds comparison service that Easy Odds have.
Let's just go through those bets then that Rossi is advising. He's already on a huge profit. If you don't follow him, don't blame me if you can't pay your tax bill at the end of the year. Here it is again, 0-0 half-time, Switzerland-Poland. That's a 6-5. All these are odds against, which makes them even more succulent to back. Wales against Northern Ireland. Wales, we can't believe that the Welsh are odds against in 90 minutes, 21-20. And this is where he's sticking his big giraffe neck out here, Rossi, for Croatia against Portugal. How many of you out there will consider backing Portugal to win in 90 minutes? This man does, and he's going for a 9-4 jackpot. And don't forget, of course, for the remainder of Euro 2016, we'll have more special video cats on the YouTube channel. Every single game, Rossi will be joined by Jake for that, and of course, previews on site as well.
Absolutely. So thanks very much for watching. Make sure that you click the watermark at the bottom of the video to subscribe to Easy Odds and get your weekly videos from both myself and Jake. Of course, Jake will be doing the horse racing. So thanks very much for watching. This has been Paul Jacobs, the 5-time champion tipster, and myself, Ross Casey, the social and content manager of easyodds.com.